Greenlight Hollywood hits. Greatest hits, that is. These were just released October 2015. It's a 6-car set. And yeah, you're probably wondering, why is there 12 cars out here, buddy? Can you count? Well, what I've done is I've pulled out the original cars from these Greenlight releases. And some of these date back to 2011, some are 2012, 2014, all different series, but the Hollywood line of cars. And we're going to do a little comparison side by side of each one of these, because these are not duplicates as they appear to be. They're very similar, but actually not duplicates. So the cars on the left are the originals from whenever they were released, and we'll get into that in a moment. And the cars on the right are the latest ones released from the Greatest Hits series. So as you can see, not a bad thing really. If you've missed one of these, you now have an opportunity to get some of these coolest Hollywood releases from some of the most iconic movies without having to pay the retail secondary eBay pricing. The first one we're going to look at is the Jake and Elwood's Bluesmobile. This is my favorite casting of the bunch, and so nice to see they've re-released it. As you can see, the packaging virtually identical, other than a slight shade difference in the blue on the packaging. A little bit more royal on the left, a little bit more of a kind of a navy on the right. Really not much else to say anything about here. And the back of the packaging is virtually identical, again only with a shade difference. There's a little blurb on the movie. You can pause there if you want to read about that. But otherwise, let's take a look at the cars themselves. And without actually opening them, because I only bought one set, I did open the old one. This is the one from Series 1 of the Hollywood wave of cars. So you can see there it says Series 1. Whereas on the new Greatest Hits wave, that is missing. So other than that, and the copyright date, not much difference. This one here, Series 1, released in 2011, and this one of course being released just now, 2015. Here the car is open in a loose condition. Quite an impressive little car. You can see a lot of detail on this unit. Even blown out back window, that's purposely not there. And just a nice big heavy car, opening hood. This one I just pulled out too because it's interesting that it wasn't released this time around in the Greatest Hits wave, but it was the same car with a glossier black paint job and the big trumpet horn on the top. So that was from, I think that was a multi-car set. It may have come out in a single blister. I can't quite remember. Should have looked that up before I started talking, but oh well. We're here to look at these two cars in particular. So the new one here, you can see, features a very muddy paint job. A lot of dust and dirt on the side of the car. It's still missing the back window. And really, pretty much almost the same as the original release back in 2011. Other than the paint is also a bit more of a matte finish on this one. And on the previous one, slightly glossier. It's actually interesting here because this one is a matte finish, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe this one was from a multi-car set as well. There's a whole bunch of variations here, clearly. So maybe in 40 years when variations on Greenlights are worth money, that will be of more interest to you guys. But in the meantime, what a fantastic opportunity to add this car to your collection all over again. Interestingly, just as I went to the shelf to pull off this second car we're going to talk about, I found my matte finished Bluesmobile. So it appears that in 2011 there was 2 versions released. These 2 cars must have come in a set. I'm pretty sure now this was a 2-pack set, if I'm not mistaken. A Blues Brothers 2-pack, if you will. Maybe it was a 3-pack, maybe include a police car, but at any rate, this was the original car from the individual blister pack that we just looked at, so for some clarity on that. Anyways, let's move on to the next car. This is getting a little lengthy for variations here. The next car we're looking at, we've got the Chicago Police Dodge Monaco. Here's the original, also from Hollywood, Series 1, as you can see on the packaging. And the new one, again, with nothing there. You can see quite a difference in the blue as well in the packaging on this one. And the back of the packaging is also the same. It's the same blurb pretty much, so you don't need to pause it twice. And the car itself, real nice detail on this bad boy. Look at that license plate and the headlights. Virtually no difference between these cars from one to the next. There may be maybe a license plate change or something, but I highly doubt it. That wouldn't be very authentic. I didn't really look ahead at this, but yeah, there is a change. Look at that. Tampo on the new one is Police 202 on the trunk, and license plate M something something something. Whereas this one here has Police 737 on the trunk. So Greenlight is very good about throwing in some small but noticeable variations for their collectibles, and that's one of the things that I think is going to make these cars a future collectible, despite re-releasing them time and again. Yes, Smokey and the Bandit. We've got these cars released once again. As you can see, here's the new one, Bandit 77 Pontiac TA. Very nice, got the authentic looking wheels on it. Really cool paint job and tampos. And the packaging still pretty much the same as the old one. Slight difference in the gold shade of the trim. But the big difference here is the wheels and the hood tampo. As you can see, completely different wheels on this car. Let's see, zoom out, see both of them at the same time. And the hood tampo is a little less pronounced in the gold trim that we saw on the newer version here. You can see it's quite a bit bolder on the new one. And some other minor things too. Just the gold in general is a little bit more subdued on the original, whereas the new one is much brighter. And as you guys probably know, Greenlight has released these cars in multiple multi-packs, including the Hollywood film reels, and I think there was a 2-pack somewhere. Quite often featuring slight tampo variations and different wheels. Well, these are two different cars actually. I'm looking at one from the... This one shouldn't be here. This one's in the next video, so let's take that one out. But yeah, pretty nice car. Extraordinarily nice car, I should say, actually. Tons of detail on this thing. And a great opportunity to pick this car up again if you missed it the first couple times it's been released. And finally, we'll just look at the back of the packaging. Both are exactly the same. You can pause it right there if you want to read about that. And now looking at both Smokey and Bandit number 2. This is the 1980 Pontiac. A little bit of a difference in the font for the title of the car, as you can see. This is the new one, the new release. And here we have the original release, which came out in Series 2. I think that was in 2012. It's got a slight difference in the wheels. As you can see, it's got steel wheels where this one has hubcaps, and probably some other pretty minor tampo variations, I would assume. Interestingly though, the car that I mistakenly had pulled out in the other Smokey and Bandit 1, this car was released in the Hollywood film reel set. As I said before, it's a 4-car set that was just released this summer. This car is pretty much the identical car, as far as I can tell, as this new limited edition single pack version. So if you already got this car in the Hollywood film reel set, I wouldn't say you actually necessarily need to get this car again. And here's the back of the packaging, so you can pause on that for the movie information. Joe Dirt's 79 Pontiac Firebird TA. Here's the original one from Hollywood Series 4, released in 2012. The packaging, pretty much identical on these ones. There's the back, not much there, just life's a garden, dig it. And as for the cars themselves, a difference in the tampo is one of the most immediate observations. The new one here has a more of a gray tampo. I'm sorry about the glare here. Gray tampo on the roof and across the T-tops, whereas the previous version was a darker gray with a black bird on the hood. The new one's more of a purple auburn colored kind of bird emblem. So that's one difference. And then there's the wheels. This one's got the 5-spoke wheels. This one also has 5 spokes, but they're matted, so matte gray on this newer release and chrome on Hollywood Series 4. I hope you guys aren't too disappointed, but I actually don't have the original Hollywood release of this one, so I don't have any information on it. I do have the latest one here. Well, I bought 2 of them actually. Why, I don't really know. I guess I'm going to open one. So we can't do a comparison on this one, but we can take a look at it. As you can see, it's got the Joe Dirt packaging, same as the Firebird. Life's Garden, dig it. Same thing. I imagine it's probably the same on the original one. And a very colorful Dodge Charger Daytona. Now I'm guessing there's probably going to be a slight difference in the splatter of the dirt, because they can hardly ever get those two things the same when they're years apart. But otherwise, I can't imagine there being a lot of difference between this and the original release. But time will tell once I find one. To recap this 6-car set that you should be able to find in your stores right now, have a look at all these cool cars. Hopefully you can find them. Or maybe you don't have to if you already have them from before. Here are the originals. Just one last quick recap. These are all from various series. Some were in the same series, like the 2 Blues Brothers cars were Series 1. And others were, well, that one doesn't really count on the end, but the others, Series 2, Series 4, who knows? Well, you know because you watched the video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Sorry it was a bit random. It's always fun.